everyone, it's Tracy, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can use a vector EPS file in Affinity Designer for iPad. Now I have created a separate version of this tutorial for the desktop version because even though the process is actually the same, because the tools are located so differently, I wanted to create 2 separate videos, so I'll link that at the top. If you're using the iPad version, the first way that you can do it is to open the EPS file as its own separate document. So I've already done that here. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And I'm going to copy the elements that I want to pull into my other illustration. So I have that curve selected. I'll go to Edit, Copy, and I'm going to hit my back arrow and go right back into my other illustration. I'll do Edit and Paste. And now it's pasted it as its own separate layer. I'm actually going to drag it beneath all the flowers. Because it's its own separate layer, I can go ahead and use my Move tool to drag it out and place it wherever I want it. And because this is a curve, I can go up to my Color Studio here and make changes to the color. I can change the blend mode here. Let's go ahead and change it to something like, let's say soft light. I could change the opacity. I can also go in here, I'm going to zoom in really close here, select the layer, grab my node tool, and I can make changes to the nodes too directly. All right, so that's the first process. The second, I'm going to go ahead and delete this, is to pull it in as an embedded document. So to do that, I'm going to use the place function. I'll go up to my Documents menu, hit Place Image. Now mine are saved in the cloud, so I'm going to go ahead and import from cloud. And I'm going to grab a different file this time. I'm going to grab this frame file that I created, and I'll drag it out. And again, it's creating its own separate layer, just like the other one. I'm going to go ahead and drag it down in the stack and just place it where I want it. Now, this is not a curve, it's an embedded document. So even though it is a vector, I can't directly access it in here, which means I can't select it and go into my Color Studio and start tapping around and changing the color. It's not going to have any effect on it. Instead, what I need to do is double tap and go ahead, and it's going to open up the document as a solo document. So now I can go in, I can hit the curves, and I can change the color to whatever I'd like. I can zoom in and I can make changes to the nodes here. So let's drag something out really big just so that you can see the change. I'll go ahead and grab my node tool here, and I'm just going to drag this out. It's going to look kind of silly in the illustration, but let's not worry about that. Now I'm going to hit my back arrow here, and it's going to take me right back to the other illustration. And the first thing you can see is that it's changed the color of it. It's also gone ahead and made that change to the nodes. I can go ahead back into my Layer Studio, double tap, and take me right back to that embedded document. I can 2-finger tap to change that node if I want, go back in, and it's automatically changed it there. Now, as far as file size goes, the file size in both ways is exactly the same. You're not going to see any difference. One isn't larger than the other. It comes down to which way works best for you. So if I save this off as an AF design file, that embedded document is going to stay in there, and I can go ahead and make those changes if I want. If I bring it in as a curve instead, same thing. I can save it off as an AF design file, and I'll always have access to that curve. It's really up to preference as far as which works best for you. So that's it for the tutorial. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them below, and I'm happy to help. If you'd like a copy of these textures that I've used, they're actually available as a free pack to my newsletter followers, and I've included a link to that newsletter in the description below. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.